And we are joined at ringside by Lennox Lewis. Nice to see you, Lennox.
Thanks.
And obviously we want to hear your thoughts. You're one of the people that Evander Holyfield has mentioned. He told us he was close to retirement, and he says now he wants to give the young guys, as he puts it, a shot. He mentioned you specifically, he mentioned Riddick Bowe. So what are your feelings about Evander and about this fight tonight?
Well, I'm looking forward to boxing Evander, and I definitely think that this is going to be a really good fight because I want to see how Evander Holyfield adapts to Larry Holmes' left jab, and that's going to be the key to this fight, Larry Holmes' left jab and the experience factor.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask about yourself now, you've moved to the United States, you're being trained out here in the United States now, am I right? You moved in from England, you've changed trainers, and you've got a whole new scene going for yourself. What's happening?
Yes, I'm training down in Washington with my trainer, Jose Pepe Carreras, and we're getting along good together. I look at it as going to school because I'm learning new things every day.
Did you feel that you weren't getting the proper training over in Europe that you might have been missing out here in the United States?
I felt that I was lacking a lot, but with the help of Jose Pepe Carreras, he's teaching me a lot in the gym, and I'm picking it up quite fast.
How far do you think that you're away from a title fight, or as far as you say you're learning right now, do you think you're close enough right now, or you're still a few months away, 6 months away, a year away before you feel confident to fight for the world title?
I feel very confident. I say I'm about 6 months away. I'm basically knocking at the door waiting for Evander Holyfield to open it, and you know, he's going to be in trouble when I get there.
All right, so by your saying that, I assume you're picking Holyfield in.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Lennox will be joining us. He will be our guest judge during the main event, which is coming up shortly. Before we send it back to Canberra Marshall, final thoughts on the scoring there, Joe? Surprising?
Well, yeah, in a sense, I think that Campos pulled it out with that last round. I felt it was pretty much even going into that last round. They both won their share of rounds. Whether it was by a point or 3 points, it's academic at this point, but I did think Campos just eked it out by virtue of winning that last round.
So Yuri Boy Campos, the new NABF welterweight champion. That's the story on an exciting undercard. And the main event is coming up next.
Metro, you there in front? Okay.
And Larry Holmes. Larry Jr. in front of him. It's amazing to think that he won the title here in Las Vegas way back in 1978. Split decision over Ken Norton, was the champion for 7 years. And there's a lot of history involved tonight. Only Archie Moore was older, fighting for the title. And of course, he got to this night with a surprising win over the previously undefeated Ray Mercer. That's the setting. It has cooled off here in the Las Vegas night. Well, it was 100-degree temperatures earlier. Breezes going through the arena as Larry Holmes heads towards the ring at Caesar's Palace. He enters the ring a 3-4-1 underdog. (54-3) with 37 knockouts. This is his 7th comeback fight. We mentioned that number 7 earlier, as well as his fights average 7 rounds over his long career. The over-under for this fight, 7.5 rounds. He's been knocked down twice in the 7th round to both Snipes and Shavers. Came back to win both in 11. So the number 7, very predominant in the history of Larry Holmes. Of course, 7 is a big number here in Las Vegas. And here comes the champion.
This is you, champ. This is you.
This is his 3rd title defense. And he won his heavyweight belt October the 25th, 1990. A 3rd round knockout of the vanquisher of Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas. Eventually, Holyfield winning in 7. But it's interesting to note that Holyfield had just 7 rounds in the last 422 days. So it's been a somewhat controversial reign as he is fighting for respect. But the bottom line on Evander Holyfield is, as he enters the ring, all he does is win. 27-0 with 22 knockouts. And there's Mills Lane, circuit court judge, who's our referee tonight. 13 years. Similar in height, although Holmes certainly does seem to be more than half an inch taller than Holyfield. Holmes, of course, 23 pounds heavier and has that reach advantage. And, of course, we'll keep our eye on that left jab of Holmes.
Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with red trim and weighing in at 233 pounds. His overall career totals are 54 victories against only 3 defeats, with 37 KOs to his credit. For 7.5 years, he ruled the division, making 15 defenses of the title. Tonight, he returns to Caesar's Palace, where he won it all in 78. Ladies and gentlemen, from Easton, Pennsylvania, the challenger, former heavyweight champion of the world, the Easton Assassin, Larry Holmes. Wearing the gold trunks with white trim, weighing in at an even 210 pounds. This 1984 Olympic bronze medalist was the first of the great 84 team to win a world title, becoming cruiserweight champion in only his 13th bout as a professional. Since moving up to the heavyweight division, he's maintained a perfect record, which now totals 27 victories without a defeat, 22 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, from Atlanta, Georgia, the two-time world champion and current undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Real Deal Holyfield.
All right, gentlemen, this is for the championship of the world. You've been through all the instructions, picked a tough, clean fight, and check yourself at all times. Any questions from Mr. Holmes or his corner? Any questions, Mr. Holyfield's corner? Let's get it on.
Holmes tried to stare at him, and Holyfield just smiled. And earlier, Larry trying to take the mic from Michael Buffer and tell him how many championship fights he's had. As you see the disparity in championship rounds, Larry winking to some people at ringside, both very relaxed.
Well, that's going to change in about another 5 seconds because they won't have time for grabbing mics or smiling at each other. They're going to get down to business, and here we go.
Holyfield going right at Holmes. Said he wants Holmes to be active. He doesn't want him to be in a defensive posture. Holyfield said he's been most successful with boxers who have fought him.
And what he means by that, Len, is he likes a fighter to open up with him and trade punches with him because really that's where Holyfield has been most successful. When Douglas opened up with him, caught him with a good counter punch. Dokes, of course, in that wild fight they had right here, he opened up and knocked him out finally in the 10th round, I believe. So that's one of the things that Evander enjoys, a good brawl.
You see Holyfield easily ducking the punches of Larry Holmes here in the early going. Holyfield goes to the body. Remember, George Foreman was able to land many punches on Holyfield. Of course, you know what Bert Cooper was able to do in that 3rd round. We get to see what Larry Holmes can do as far as landing punches. A minute gone in the 1st. There goes Holmes sticking out that left hand of his, as he's wont to do.
Of course, in that fight against George Foreman, we saw Evander Holyfield in those mid-rounds land some of the most exceptional combinations that I've seen thrown, really, especially by a big man, a big heavyweight.
Holmes went to the right hand. Didn't do much damage. Holyfield's been working the body a bit. Now he comes with the overhand right. Goes to the body with the jab. Holyfield doing some body work midway through the 1st round.
As I mentioned before, that was something that Ray Mercer didn't do throughout the fight against Larry Holmes, and was doing that, headhunting and throwing some wild punches like that. But Holyfield obviously learned from that, and he's going downstairs right off the bat.
Holyfield has been in command nearly 2 minutes into the round. Left hand from Evander. Well, as Holmes said to the camera, he was no Tommy Morrison against Mercer. He's quickly learned that Evander Holyfield is no Ray Mercer here.
It's a very good point, because Evander Holyfield really is fighting the right fight, putting pressure on, and putting Larry Holmes in a defensive posture throughout this first round.
Holmes has yet to land a good blow. It's been Evander Holyfield here in the first round. Low blow from Holmes, a low blow. Mills Lanes will warn him.
Well, Mills Lane got a little bit more upset about that low blow than Evander Holyfield did. It's as if it never even landed. Holyfield came right back after Holmes.
Holmes' punch is blocked. Holyfield finishes off with a left. Another one. That's the round. Seemed a bit long, but that's the round to Holyfield.
We're going to show in a few seconds here a little replay of that right hand landed by Larry Holmes at the end of the round. It was about the only punch he threw and landed. Thing right there on the nose of Evander Holyfield. Didn't seem to bother Evander much because he came right out of it with a nice left hook that fell a little short. There's that right hand. And if we would have gone on a little further, we would have seen Evander come out of that crouch with a left hook.
Get that rhythm, man. Get that rhythm. Just hold up his hand.
And Duva obviously happy with what his boxer did in the first round. Here we go for round two.
Excuse me, Len, let me throw it in, which I didn't have a chance to say on the replay. Holmes set up that right hand by extending that left hand, the one that Duva was complaining about in the locker room that he didn't want to see. But of course, as long as he doesn't do it with an open hand, a palm, he's safe. But if he opens the glove up in palms, it's an illegal tactic.
Holmes doing an effective job of parrying the blows of Holyfield. Holyfield, obviously the quicker fighter. Lancing right hand. Larry dug a right low, and Holyfield with a left to the body.
Well, Evander Holyfield, Larry Holmes threw a right uppercut, and Evander Holyfield just missed with a beautiful counter left hook. And that's the thing that I think Evander has in his favor here is that good speed, the good counter punch.
Well, here's where it looks like the Mercer fight. Holmes was content to stay in the corner and scored. And here Holyfield, now he's scoring with two left hands. The uppercut from Holmes. Oh, left hand from Larry Holmes. So the Mercer tactic working here against Holyfield. Holyfield content to stay in here rather than dancing away. That was the argument earlier. What if Holyfield went out to the middle of the ring and Holmes didn't come back after him?
Well, Holyfield's not the type of guy that says, I'm not going to come over after you and go to the middle of the ring and wait for him. He's going to take the attack right to Holmes like he's doing right now. This is shades of the Ali rope-a-dope right here that Holmes is trying to employ. And threw a nice right hand off of Holyfield's chin.
And the crowd roaring. They thought that Holyfield was staggered. But Holyfield now coming back. The right hand from Holmes. Holyfield content to dig his head in here in the second round. Oh, Holmes with the right uppercut.
The right uppercut that landed a little low. Of course, Mills Lane on the other side didn't see it, but snuck that one in a little low.
Content to stay in the corner, and Holmes scoring. Now Holyfield backs off. At least Holyfield consistent in all of his defenses. He takes punches. Many of them.
Look at
Holmes looking down towards the commentators.
Well, he's looking directly at George Foreman, the man he has eyes for as far as if he wins this fight, that's the man he wants to fight. Larry Holmes wants to fight George Foreman.
And he's giving it to Evander Holyfield more than he's getting.
And right now he's fighting Evander Holyfield quite well right here in the corner.
Final seconds of the second round. George Foreman working tonight's bout for HBO on tape delay. And a big smile. He's looking down. No. Duva says go to the other corner, and Holmes pats him on the head. Larry enjoying himself.
Wow, he's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now, Larry Holmes.
Stay out of his corner. Understand? Stay out of his corner.
All right, here we go. Back to the corner here. This could have been any point in time. There was that low blow I was talking about. Followed it with a right uppercut. Threaded the needle there. A little right hand chopping to the ear, two of them. It's exactly what he did against Ray Mercer in Atlantic City. Same sequence, but different angle. The double uppercut, two chopping right hands,
And Lou Duva, while you're watching the replay, screaming at Holyfield, stop fighting his fight. Third round. Now they're in the middle of the ring. And Holmes goes to his hammer, the jab. A strong second round for the 42-year-old. Holyfield with the combination.
Holmes is just so good at really deflecting punches and parrying punches. He's quite surprising at the speed that they're coming at him at, that he's able to really coordinate his hands and parry a lot of those punches from Evander Holyfield. Of course, Holyfield waiting for the one that he isn't able to parry, that can maybe start off a rally for himself here. But right now, Holmes is really fighting a beautiful offensive and defensive fight.
And Holyfield trying to set it up with a jab. He did not jab as much as his corner wanted against Cooper. Trying to be more effective with it to set up that right hand here tonight. There it is, the right hand. And it was a big one. And another one from Holyfield.
Holmes' eyes are clear, though. He absorbed that quite well. He was looking right at his man in front of him.
Two big right hands absorbed by Larry Holmes. Holmes puts his hands down momentarily. Feeling is that Holmes lowers that jab at times. He can go over the top with the right. Holyfield did connect twice there. Holmes missing as he tries to come out with the right hand. Inside of a minute remaining in the third. Holyfield connects with the left hook. And Holmes taking it all.
Well, Larry Holmes has fought off the ropes in the last two rounds, but it looked like he was doing better in the corner than he was in the middle of the ropes in the middle of the round, even though he just caught Holyfield with two short right hands.
And Holmes was smiling moments ago, almost in disdain. He's fighting at Holyfield. 12 seconds to go in the round. Holmes staring at Holyfield, looking at him, a half smirk at times. Holmes has taken as good as Holyfield had in that third round.
So let's go back to the action. This is the right hand that started, that was the first good right hand that Holyfield landed. And of course, it looks like Holmes took it well. He's got his eyes focused here. And a little chopping right hand over the top. Holmes pulling him down, but it didn't hurt him as much as that right hand looked as big as it was. It didn't do that much damage. Holmes is clear right there. He took that second one right over the top there. Those can add up, obviously, after a while, but Holmes took those quite well.
And we start the fourth round. Holmes' corner wanted him to go to the jab. Holyfield, as we noted, using more of it tonight than he did against Cooper. Another right hand, glancing from Holyfield.
Not much being landed here, but by virtue of Holyfield pressing the action, trying to make the fight happen, of course, you know, he's going to get the favorable scoring at this point as far as this round is concerned.
Now they come over to this corner. Holyfield backs off this time. Larry wants to stay in that corner. Now Holmes comes to him. Holmes is, Holyfield's corner wants him to move away and back off and not stay here. And now he moves away. Down to a minute to go in the fourth. Larry, and then look out the little elbow. And the right hand from Holmes.
Good right hand, left hook, uppercut, and Holmes is really doing quite well against the ropes. And this is obviously the reason why Lou Duva wants Holyfield to take the fight to the center of the ring.
Holmes again, effective with the right hand. The odd number rounds have gone to Holyfield thus far. The even number rounds, Holmes has been better, operating from the corners. Holyfield lands with the left and then comes back to the body. Holmes just holding his shoulders.
Right? By holding his shoulders, he stops his arms from coming forward and right humbles a lot of punches.
A couple of low blows in there from Larry as well. Uppercut from Holmes in the right hand, and then Holyfield goes after him in the final seconds of the fourth.
He does, but Holmes blocked everything that Holyfield came back with.
Not that one. Overhand right from Holyfield. Exciting end to the fourth round. I'm with you on that. Now the chance of Larry at Caesar's Palace as we start the fifth round in the middle of the ring. Larry landed the right, and then Holyfield landed.
Holmes stepped in with a jab right hand that really had a lot of vicious intent on it, and of course Holyfield wrote it out and tried to come back with his own counter right hand.
More of what Holyfield would like, exchanges off the ropes. It seems to be the way we've been operating in the odd-numbered rounds. Larry conserving the energy. Holyfield utilizing it more. Nearly a minute gone in the fifth. With the jabs, one connected, one grazed. Holyfield works the body with the right and the head with the left.
Holmes is very, very clever. He is rolling with these punches. He's dipping and using his elbows to block the body shots. And landed a 1-2, landed a great right hand and wobbled Holyfield a little bit right there.
And Holyfield comes back with a right of his own. Or even that big right hand in the third round from Holyfield, Holmes was turning on it.
That's right, and that's why I said it didn't look like it affected his eyes. You got to look into a fighter's eyes. And there goes that counter right hand.
And a good combination from Holyfield. Holmes started it, and Holyfield came back and finished it.
That's right. Holmes led with the right hand, and Holyfield came back. Something Mercer did not do in that fight, as we go back to that fight as an example. And also threw the left hook off that right hand. Holyfield came back the right hand and left hook to counter punch and turned Larry Holmes here in the corner.
Oh, and Holmes with a good right hand out of the corner. You can see why Lou Duva wants Holyfield to dance the way as he's doing now. He wants Holmes to come out after him.
Well, Holmes can come out and just lead Holyfield right back to the corner again if he so desires.
Connected with the right, Holmes did. Working the body again, Holyfield is as the fifth round wanes. Again, Holmes smiling down and now talking to George Foreman. Larry doing some running commentary of his own in the fifth round.
I don't know about you, but I'm quite...
He's reaching.
As we start the sixth round.
Maybe I'm stopping short of saying that Larry Holmes is winning a lot of these rounds as this fight goes on. But as the CompuBot stats showed, he's landed 49% of his punches, if I'm not mistaken.
With jabs.
Jabs, was it?
Yeah. Holyfield cracked the right hand over the top.
He did it again. Holmes was rolling with it. Got the shoulder.
Jabs from Holyfield.
Larry Holmes is great at getting in the shoulder in the way of the chin and rolling with that punch.
And Holmes backs off towards the ropes, and Holyfield obliges him. Comes in after him with the right. Minute gone in the 6th. Grazing left hook from Holyfield.
I think Larry Holmes is playing a little waiting game here, letting Evander shoot off some steam, laying against ropes, deflecting a lot of punches. And let's see if he turns it on the last half of this round to pull it out for himself.
Holmes will jab, and then Holyfield will come in after him. Trying to hold him at arm's length with the left hand. And Holyfield working the body again.
Larry Holmes stuck out that jab. Holyfield put a right hand right under the jab to the ribs. He's going to have to do a lot more than that to really get Larry Holmes in trouble. He's going to have to be punching in combinations once he gets inside.
Larry missing the big uppercut inside of a minute remaining in the 6th. Fairly even fight thus far. Mills Lane says no wrestling as they were pushing off towards the corner.
Oh!
Right hand from Larry Holmes. And Holyfield, as he's shown, continues to take the big punches. Lands some of his own. Another right hand over the top from Holyfield. A left, another right from Evander. And Holmes coming out of there.
One or two of those right hands got in. Larry Holmes again deflecting a lot, came back with a little body shot of his own, but landed the more clean and effective punches right before that series on the ropes here with two right hands. Holmes landed two great right hands.
Final seconds of the 6th.
Well, it looks like Evander got a headbutt right off the ropes there, and I'm not sure. He is cut, and it's a bad cut in the eyelid.
The eye. And that's exactly what Lou Duva, now he's out yelling at Mills Lane in the ring.
Well, Lou Duva said he hit him with the headbutt, but it was Evander Holyfield that looked like he fell forward into the ropes, and Mills Lane is saying he didn't see what happened.
And Duva's trying to claim it was intentional, because should it be ruled accidental and should it go to the cards and should Holmes be ahead, he would be the winner if Holyfield were not able to continue.
Exactly.
That's exactly what Duva was talking about earlier this evening during the tape we showed you.
In defense of Larry Holmes, that butt came either at the bell or a little bit after the bell when Holyfield fell into him on the ropes. And proof of that is Mills Lane had already turned away from it. That's why he didn't see it. Here we go. Both
elbow.
Let's see it. It was an elbow he caught as he came in. They were trading punches. That was accidental.
It was an elbow. And Mills Lane telling Lou Duva to get out of the ring.
It's a terrible cut. It's in the eyelid, and it's already bleeding, and it's bothering Evander Holyfield.
Remember we talked about fateful 7th rounds. Here we go. For Larry Holmes. Holmes trying to work that eye with the jab. It was an elbow, as we saw from that replay, right at the end of the round. And now Holyfield squinting a bit as the blood flows from the right eye. The champ with blood on his face and on his trunks. And a long way to go.
I can't remember when I've ever seen Evander Holyfield cut. And cut of this magnitude. This is really runs the length of the eyebrow underneath in the eyelid in a very bad spot. Wow, that is a gaping gash on Evander Holyfield.
And Holyfield trying to go back to normal procedure, jabbing and then following up with the right.
Holyfield's offense has been virtually ineffective against Larry Holmes to this point.
And snapped his head back with a jab there, Joe. Midway through the 7th round. The blood continues to flow from the right eye of Evander Holyfield. And Holyfield backs Holmes up again. Lands some punches. Not a lot on those blows, but they are landing. Trying to hold him off with the left hand, as he's wont to do, inside of a minute remaining in the 7th. Oh, Holmes with the right. Good jab, left jab from Larry Holmes. A right over the top from Holyfield, backs Holmes into the corner. Holmes has his gloves up in defense.
He's blocked all of those body shots. He rolled with that right hand, deflected the power from it. The crowd roared, but in all fairness and honesty, that right hand didn't land. Oh, good right hand by Larry Holmes. Stepped right in off the jab. And Evander Holyfield looks very fatigued, very tired, and looks like his confidence is really starting to deteriorate in this fight. Here comes Dr. Flip Homansky. They don't want Flip Homansky to see this cut. Lou Duke is trying to block him out.
Keep the damn blood. See, that's all you got to do.
Round number 8, scheduled for 12. Bleeding is stopped momentarily.
In Holyfield's corner, they've hired freelance cutman Ace Murata. Have adrenaline will travel, and he really put a hold on the bleeding in that eyelid of Evander Holyfield.
Larry is talking to Evander Holyfield as he fights him. Holyfield obliges him with a combination that lands. Good left to the body and the right over the top from Holyfield. So Holyfield, despite the cut, is fighting his fight.
Despite the cut, but now that cut is opened up again and it is dripping blood. And there's got to be a sense of urgency on Holyfield's part at this point, because that cut is very bad and it's bleeding. And I don't know how much longer that the doctor will let this fight go on with a cut like that.
Holmes would love nothing better than to work the jab right at that cut. Maybe he should be doing more of it. Take advantage of the situation midway through the 8th.
Well, first thing you want to do is land the jab anywhere. Second thing you'd like to do is land it on that cut. But he's got his hands full landing it anywhere. You know, for the difference in sculptures of the body here, Holmes and Evander's, it's really Evander Holyfield that seems to be laboring with his breathing at this point.
Not to mention the age differential of 13 years. Coming down to a minute to go in the 8th round. Not as eventful as some of the earlier ones. Quiet 8th round. Not bleeding profusely, Joe. The blood is welled up, but I think they did a pretty decent job in the last break in his corner.
Of course, Evander, for the first 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes of this round, really has been doing all the fighting in this round, and
Holyfield breathing heavier than Holmes at this point. This is rather amazing in the final seconds of the 8th round.
He's got a lot to deal with, especially with this cut.
the cut man in Holyfield's corner. Right now he has it stopped as we begin the 9th round.
Don Turner urging Larry Holmes to come out and fight a little bit more. He knows he probably dropped that round by really being virtually, he threw very few punches in that round, and Holyfield definitely took that round by virtue of his pressure and his body work. But Holmes has got to get busy if he wants to get back in this fight and rack up some more points.
Holyfield scoring. Larry trying to shake some moisture off the bottom of his shoe. He came out dripping wet. They must have poured a gallon of water over him during that break. His trunks were soaking. And Holyfield working the jab. The action has slowed here in the last couple of rounds. And Holyfield swings and misses, and his own momentum took him down. Rolled a slip, of course. Holyfield going for the big roundhouse, and they touch gloves.
Well, surprising Holmes, with as well as he did early on, is really kind of not being as active as he should be if he wants to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He's kind of letting it slide out of his hands here, and he's abandoned the rope-a-dope or the stuff in the corner that was working so well for him.
He's abandoned just about everything in this round, Joe. Very little jabbing from him, very little of anything. Maybe Holyfield sensed it and went for that one big knockout punch. Judging a round like this, it's really the man who carries the action. And up to this point, it's Holyfield.
That's right.
He snaps Holmes' head back with another jab. Oh, and Larry counters with a right hand. And a rare left hook from Holmes. Inside of a minute to go in the 9th.
This is what I pointed out at the beginning of the fight. Larry Holmes had to be prepared to go 12 rounds, 3 minutes a round, and he's really not doing that. He's fading a little bit here. He's trying to steal the round by coming out at the end of the round here, the last minute, and it's being somewhat successful. He's being somewhat successful with it. But to win over the judges, and he's had bad luck here in Vegas, especially with the Spinks fights, he better get on the ball if he wants to win this fight.
Little trickle coming out of the cut over the right eye. And Holmes now the man breathing harder, so maybe the last 3 rounds conditioning will tell in the warm Las Vegas night. It's no longer hot. Holyfield cracks a right hand, and really his advantage in this round based on his activity in taking the fight to Holmes.
Exactly right, Lynn.
Only 4 times has Evander Holyfield fought into the 10th round as a professional, 22 times for Larry Holmes, but obviously he was a younger man at the time. Here we go, round number 10. An amateur fight, as they said in the corner, meaning 3 rounds to go. But this is for the undisputed heavyweight championship. And really a lull has settled over. Crowd waiting for something to happen which isn't the last couple of rounds.
Well, Larry Holmes may have been cruising these past couple rounds to save it, to turn it on these last few rounds here and maybe steal the show or try to go for a knockout somehow, and I think that's what he needs because Holyfield's taking the last few rounds.
You saw right there, Holyfield would not go into the corner with him, and now he's backing off the ropes a little bit. What worked very effectively in the 2nd and 4th rounds for Larry Holmes hasn't really worked since, and the most telling blow thus far was in the 6th round, what we think is an unintentional elbow from Larry Holmes right at the end of the round. Bleeding has been stopped. Credit Ace Murata for that.
Beautiful job. With an occasional right hand downstairs from Larry Holmes also right there. Well, the tactics of Larry Holmes throughout this fight, the defensive tactics, have really taken its worn out of Evander Holyfield. He's really had to expend a lot of energy. He's missed a lot of punches, had a lot blocked, and it shows right here. He just doesn't look as vigorous as he should, really, with his the amount of resistance he's gotten from Larry Holmes offensively.
But the offense has just about ceased over the last couple of rounds from Larry Holmes.
Well,
And a few boos from the crowd as they also sense the inactivity amongst these two heavyweights going for the title. And if it continues like this and finishes up a decision, and should Holyfield win, all the same questions will go unanswered about Evander Holyfield. As I watch this, I'm wondering if Mike Tyson meant what he said the other night, that he's not interested in boxing and doesn't want to fight. And I'm wondering if he is not watching this in Indiana tonight behind bars and what he might be thinking. Inside of 30 seconds remaining in the 10th round. Of course, they may not have pay-per-view behind bars at America's institutions, Joe.
No, they just have basic cable there.
I see. So much of the same. The 8th, 9th, and 10th round, much to the disappointment of a nearly sellout crowd at Caesars Palace. Lennox Lewis, take it away through 10.
Holyfield, I gave 7 rounds. Holmes 2 and 1 draw. If I was Holmes, I would be going after that cut desperately.
Well, at this point, Holmes isn't really going after much. And the reason I say Holyfield should be going after a knockout, not because he's behind on the scorecard, but because he's really got to do something here to win over the fans and make them forget about this dull fight here.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm following up on that, and you're 100% right.
Lennox Lewis, your mic is open now, so feel free to join in the commentary here in the 11th round, and we'll see what the tactics are as less than 6 minutes now remain in the title fight.
Oh, a beautiful right hand by Larry Holmes. Another one, and those really have Evander a little wobbly, even though he's still moving forward. Those have him shaken.
One of Holmes' better punches tonight. It comes in the 11th round. Maybe he was saving himself in the last 3.
Well, I'll tell you, Evander's really laboring right now. He doesn't look like he's ready to fight back after these right hands. He's not counterpunching. He's kind of falling backwards. I think Larry Holmes should really be turning it on right here.
If he can, that's the question. And Evander Holyfield's right eye a little bit closed as he goes with the left hand. Does Holmes have a left for that assault, Joe? That's the question.
Holmes should definitely step up the pace.
Right, he's got Evander with his mouth open. He's really not doing much. He's waiting for something to happen. Holmes has got to let it hang out because he's probably, you know, this fight, he's probably not in all the way. I'm sure the scoring has got to be in Holyfield's favor at this point. And he's got to do something big to win it.
Came out with a big right hand in the start of the 11th, but hasn't followed up. Holyfield still content to work the body with 1:15 remaining in the 11th. Oh, Holmes says, come on, puts his hands down, come after me, and Holyfield just stands there. Draw a line in the sand, guys.
Holyfield is the champion. He's looking a little tired out there.
Well, this is exactly what happened to him a year last April against George Foreman, of course. At the end, it was Evander Holyfield that was really looked the more fatigued of the two. Both of them were very tired, but Evander the more fatigued of the two.
The crowd again starts the Larry chant as we come up on 35 seconds remaining in the 11th. Connects with a right hand. Holyfield tries to go back after him, but another good right hand from the challenger.
A couple good right hands by Holmes, and he bailed out with a left hook. And of course, we got a little time, I think, a little tape on the glove of Larry Holmes. You're getting hit with all that leather, and they stop it in a nice flurry like that for a little piece of tape.
And that helps Evander Holyfield at that moment. Going to fix that tape. Not a split glove as there was during the Cooper fight. Just a little tape job.
Right away.
See the blood there? by the right eye.
All right, Tom. All right, here we go, man. Let's go.
I think Holyfield might have enjoyed that little break. Final seconds of the 11th round. And a good Larry Holmes.
Another good 1-2 from Larry Holmes. Comes out with a couple more. Holmes definitely took that round big. Landed a good 7-8 good right hands during that round.
And it brings the crowd to life.
Last round, baby. This guy's going to try to throw bombs at you.
Here we go with a little replay here. We got Holmes, of course. We got a little throws in action there. And here's Holmes missing a hook and stepping to the side, coming back with a chopping right hand.
Did you hear what Larry said there? I've got to knock him out. That was Holmes' thing.
He knows it, and he's the only rational one really right now in that corner, because they're telling him 3 minutes, and really what he needs is a knockout in this fight. Holmes, 56% of the, I don't know if that was jabs or punches, but it was 56% or something. But Larry Holmes does need a knockout to win this fight.
Touch gloves for the 12th and final round for the World Heavyweight Championship. Holyfield abandoning the jab there in the 11th. Holmes will be going for the knockout. He knows himself he needs it.
There's that jab landing on that cut, and it did reopen it again. A little blood starting to trickle out, but I think the 3 minutes, the doctors and the referee will let this fight go on, regardless of how much blood comes out of that cut during this round.
Of course, Holmes thinks he needs the knockout, but when it goes to judges' scorecards, you just don't know how close it might be at this point.
Nice left hook to the liver by Holyfield, following a couple shots to the head.
Holyfield, left hook connects.
One of the things that can happen when you get a little desperate and need a knockout like Holmes does, or thinks he does, you leave yourself vulnerable to maybe some strong shots by Holyfield.
Look at the laughing from Larry Holmes. Now he goes into a bit of an Ali movement as Holyfield was landing there, and Holmes was showing disdain, but he has to show more than that here with 1:40 remaining.
That's right, and by laying on the ropes and Holyfield not obliging him, nothing's going to happen for Larry Holmes. He's got to press it like he did with that right hand, and that was a nice shot. And I'll tell you, he's landed some beautiful right hands on Holyfield. Either Larry Holmes doesn't have the same starch he did on his right hand years ago, or Holyfield's chin, as we well know, is a real, real good one.
Remarkable that the 13-year age difference, and they're breathing about the same here with 1:12 to go in a 12th round.
Oh! Two more right hands, a long one and a short one on the inside, landed by Holmes. You know, you got to ask yourself, are the judges maybe going to remember how Holmes may have gotten jobbed in that last Spinks fight, which I think he did, and maybe try to make it up to him a little bit?
I think that's a reach, Joe.
I don't know.
It's a long time ago.
Well, let me tell you something. We saw something like that happen with the fight recently against Tommy Hearns and Iran Barkley. They, in my estimation, gave Tommy Hearns a lot more credit in that fight than they should have against Barkley.
Based on overall reputation, but not one specific incident. Here we go with 33 seconds remaining. Larry Holmes coming on strong in the 11th and 12th after resting in 8 through 10. Couple good hooks by Holyfield with the left hand. And this fight ending in a flurry, and Holyfield with the left. And has Holmes up against the ropes, and Holmes trying to battle out of there with 15 seconds to go. Both looking for one big punch, and now Holyfield backs off.
It's Holmes who runs Holyfield off the ropes here. He only had 15 seconds left. He should fight to the finish here and ensure the victory for himself.
And Holyfield ends bleeding, and the two of them, well, finally, Holyfield the one to put an arm around Holmes. Holmes, as George Foreman did before him, takes the champion the distance. And now we'll go to the scorecards. And as you see, Lennox Lewis gave the last 2 rounds to Larry Holmes. So on Lennox's unofficial scorecard, he has Holyfield a 3-point winner.
The shot you hit him with a knockdown of 3. I was there to survive. He didn't want to fight. I told you he was going to fight that way.
That was Duva's point of view. Question still remains on the knockout power potential of Evander Holyfield, now through 3 defenses. And a a smile from Larry Holmes and a hug. And we're ready now for the decision, everyone. Michael Buffer.
We go to the scorecard. Chuck Giampa scores about 116 to 112. That's the same score, 116 to 112 from Carol Castellano, and Glenn Hamada has it 117 to 111 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Real Deal Holyfield. Ladies and gentlemen,
so just about as we saw it, Evander Holyfield retains his title, and now we'll look forward to the winner of the Riddick-Bowe-Pierre Kutzer fight coming up in July, and that championship fight may very well wind up in November to be Evander Holyfield versus either Bowe or Kutzer. That's the way it looks right now. And Larry Holmes still may have a fight down the road with George Foreman. Holmes is not finished yet, despite a 12-round decision loss to Evander Holyfield.
Evander, this was a difficult fight for you tonight, was it not?
First of all, I'd like to thank God, the Lord Jesus Christ, my Savior, the Holy Spirit, and I'm dedicating this fight to my brother. No, the fight wasn't easy. I didn't come in thinking the fight was easy. Larry Holmes proved that he a crafty fighter, had a great defense, and it was hard to figure him out. And a lot of shots that I hit, he was just able to shoot.
Well, as I was calling it, it seemed like he rode out a lot of your punches. He parried a lot of punches and blocked a lot of punches. Of course, it seemed like you were the more active fighter. Did that seem to tire you out, him blocking and parrying a lot of punches?
No, it didn't tire me out. I knew I had to fight a cautious fight because a lot of my punches wasn't landing because it was slipping off his arm. Seemed like he had his body very moist and couldn't get a lot of good body shots to him. And it just showed that he's a very crafty fighter. And I wasn't giving out of gas. I knew I just had to not concentrate on just trying to knock him out, but concentrate mostly on the win.
What happened there along the ropes when that flash of, I think it was his elbow that hit you in the eye? What exactly happened there in your mind?
Well, I threw a right hand and he was swinging. He missed with a shot and his elbow caught me in high on the eye. Something that happened my first battle wound.
Now, Evander, in your eyes, did you need a knockout to keep yourself as really the top dog in the heavyweight division against Larry Holmes? Does it hurt you that you didn't knock him out?
No, I don't think so. It's a matter of opinion on other people's part. I fought a smart fight. I went out there, and I didn't push myself to the point where I'm going to get very reckless and careless because I knew that he was fighting a defensive fight, and it's hard to actually take a guy out with a defensive fight. I tried a lot of different things. I tried to let him come on, let him swing the shot, make the shot glance, and try to counter. But he was able to recover quick and go back to the road and use the rope shot and defensive weapon.
Now, let me ask you another question here, Evander. He hit you with some right hands. How did they affect you? You seem to take them very well. Is it that you got a great chin, or is his punch just as effective as that right hand as we might have thought?
Well, he threw some good right hand, but I seen the right hand coming as I was able to turn with a lot of punches, so he wasn't able to get everything home on the punches.
Excuse me, Evander, and thank you for answering that question. Let me ask Lou Duva. Lou, was there a time in that fight where you concerned about Larry Holmes because he was doing quite well in the earlier rounds?
No, I was never concerned about him. The only thing I was concerned about was the cut, keeping the cut under control, which we did. It's the first time he's ever been cut, and he stood up like a champ.
That's right. Some guys, they can get cut and they can fold.
He never got excited about that. We just did our job and brought him along.
Lennox Lewis is going to be fighting, from what I understand, Razor Ruddock. What's the next challenge for Evander? And of course, you got the two old guys out of the way, Larry Holmes, George Foreman. What's really up in store for Evander? Who's the tough guy you're going to meet next?
Well, we'd like to fight Razor Ruddock, Lennox Lewis, but especially we'd like to fight Riddick-Bowe. That's the guy we'd like to fight. But if that don't work out, we'd be glad to fight the winner of Ruddock and Lennox Lewis. No problem.
Well, Evander Holyfield certainly has the opportunity since you're still world champion. Evander, good luck to you.